a soldier, an airman, and a Marine walk into a room. This show is The Punchline. My name is Ryan Smeltz, and you're watching Veteran Talk Show.
All right, guys. So in case you don't know, we are an affiliate for Soldier Girl Coffee Company. I'm super excited about this because they have amazing coffee. And in future episodes, you will see us drinking Soldier Girl coffee. They also have a CBD coffee. So if you need some CBD, which helps support your health in a sense of relaxation, it helps with your sleep and your overall health on a day-to-day basis, then Soldier Girl Coffee has both that and the caffeine you need. So be sure to check out the link in the show notes. Go ahead and click that, shop around, and make sure you get yourself some Soldier Girl Coffee today.
I don't know. I like the idea of having, it's, one of the problems I had in the Marine Corps was I never felt like while I was in Jacksonville at Camp Lejeune, I had any anonymity. Like I was always,
you enjoy your privacy.
I enjoy my privacy. I enjoy my time away from people where I can get to be me.
Yeah.
I love, time with just friends and family where we don't always have to feel like we're watching what we say or we're going to hurt or offend or do anything like that. I hate that shit. You okay over there? You struggling?
It's my first day. This is loose.
My sister's bothering me now about my dad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as far as
well, I don't have social media. The only social media I have is a LinkedIn account, and my picture's not even up on it. And it's very, very generic. And the only reason I have it is just to look for jobs.
I feel like your reasons behind enjoying your privacy and stuff are a lot better and different than some people. Like some people want their privacy because they're like, blah, 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 the man.
Yeah,
like
no, I don't.
Spied on it.
I don't want that. I don't feel like I'm an important enough of a person to be like, oh, this is the thought I have in my head. Let me write it down for the world to see. Right. I'm not
Twitter.
Yeah.
The garbage can.
Yeah.
The garbage can that is.
Well, that's
Twitter.
what I feel like social media is. You're not going to get to know an individual who are, because individually we are complex people with emotions and different cultures and all this stuff. And I feel like in 160 characters, you're not going to be able to get across
I think it's
an elegant idea. Huh? How many characters?
I think it's 180.
Whatever.
I have no idea.
You're not going to be able to like have an intelligent thought come out and in that little time.
I mean, I disagree with you, but I think you're going a lot deeper on it than what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like,
and then no one can read sarcasm. That's the other thing. So if you're like, because I'm very sarcastic, so I'd be typing something like, "Oh, this is hilarious," and then everybody would just be like, "You're a fucking asshole."
Yeah, hashtag cancel Joe.
Yeah, hashtag cancel that motherfucker. Like I'm like, why, guys? I'm really nice. Like it was a joke.
I'm nice. I was just joking.
That was me trying to be funny at society, but I guess that didn't go over well.
Oh, we're in public.
Oh, yeah.
Got it. No, you're right. Like, if you look, my Twitter, I don't know anything about it. In fact, I was trying to have Toya manage it at one point. All the social media I have is for business purposes. That includes my pages and my profile, especially on
This
Facebook.
Is the most social media I do.
This is exciting because you're going to be everywhere. So
I don't know about all that.
Okay, so
here's the thing. I don't think we're going to be everywhere like you think we are.
I'm not worried about it.
No, I know. If I thought this was going to be like, oh, we're going to be like the next Joe Rogan, to be like, no, I'm all right. I don't want to be on it.
You're like, wait, we're going to be.
Nope. Millions of people are going to have to sit down and listen to me. Nope. I'm all right. like a few hundred. Okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like,
so the video is only going to be on Facebook and YouTube, and I think depending on where I get the most traffic, I may pull one of them back. Maybe. So the primary purpose for YouTube though is because on the website on WordPress, like I think because I got a hosting program or a hosting service and I paid for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it's like comes to about $3 a month or something like that. So the website's super cheap. I use YouTube to embed the videos. So if I don't get really
I had friends and family like, oh, where can I watch this? And I'm like, well, you probably don't want to watch this.
Definitely.
Like, dude, this is not going to be your cup of tea. And I guarantee you do not want to hear some of the shit that we talk about.
I posted a trailer. This was a little bit ago, and I put it on Facebook, and I put on a list of things that you do not tell your mom about. This is at the top. Well, online on my social media and stuff, I'm a very public person because everything's public, and I know what you put out there, as we see in today's society, will come back and bite you in the ass. So whatever I put out there, I make sure it's something that I know that I would say in a crowd of people or to a random stranger. And so I was saying that. I was saying, hey, be warned. This is not a, cuddly, warm hugs fucking show.
There's a lot of F-bombs. I think for one of the episodes for like 3 hours, we talked about drugs and doing drugs.
It might have been 2.5.
Yeah. I mean, I was like nothing, but I'm fine with it. I used to do drugs. It's okay. I don't have a problem with people doing drugs.
So my mom saw it and she was, she didn't like it at all.
Well, I had to tell my mom, like I told my mom, she's like, well, can I watch it? And I was like, you can. You're not going to want to. And she's like, well, why not? And I was like, well, first of all, because I think this is the weekend after we did that episode where we had everybody at your house. We had like 6 of us in there.
I don't know how we did that. There was no room.
There was no room in there. And it's one of the reasons I was like, let's just come to my house. But I was like, well, just to give you an idea, the last episode we talked about like life before I joined the Marine Corps. And my mom's like, oh God. I was like, yeah. Like, it was like, if you knew me back then, I was the kid who was walking down the street at 18, 19 years old. And you're like, that motherfucker's a drug user. Like, and I wouldn't have taken offense to it. I'd have been like, yes, I am. I'm high right now talking to you. Like
Mitch Hedberg. I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do drugs anymore. I don't even smoke weed. Like, people are like, why don't you smoke weed? You lived in Colorado for 6 years. You never smoked weed out there? I was like, once or twice, maybe. I mean, I'll smoke weed it's rare that I smoke weed now.
Yeah.
Like, it's really rare. And it's not because like I have some kind of moral. It's like, man, I just kind of grew out of it. Like, I went so long without it. Like, it's like when I gave up soda when I was like a teenager.
I agree with you 100%.
Like,
I don't understand potheads.
Oh, I loved being a pothead. I loved it.
I just don't.
If you're a pothead, I mean, you're a pretty awesome person in my book, because I mean,
I like them as human beings. Yeah. I just don't understand them because I don't understand how you consume that much weed.
Dude, I used to smoke a shit ton of weed,
and then just.
And
of course, I've known some.
I would still. So the idea of like this. Like the guy on the couch and half-baked pothead. Like, I was never that guy.
I wanted to be that.
Yeah, I did too. But I was never that guy when I was high. I was the guy who would get high and be like, all right, let's go for a walk, bro. Let's like go outside and do shit. Let's go to work. Let's go to class. Let's go hang out with people. Like, I wasn't the guy who's like who would smoke weed and be like, I'm just going to sit here and watch TV and eat a bag of chips. Like, I didn't, especially when I tripped acid, I was the same way. Like, when I would trip acid or mushrooms or whatever, I'd be like, all right, time to go for like a 10-mile walk in the woods and just get outside. Like, I was not one of those, like, all my friends who smoked weed were like that. So we'd like smoke weed and then we'd go out and do shit.
I have never tripped acid.
It's a lot of fun. It is a lot. You got to be in the right headspace, but it is a lot of fucking fun. I think everyone should try it at least one time. Like, I think you should try it. Like, I'm not going to trip anymore because of you have to be in a good mindset. And some of the shit I've seen in my life, especially, Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm like, there's that little voice in the back of my head that kind of clicks off that goes, hey, you probably need to be careful if you're going to take this hallucinogenic, because yes, it could be fun, but then you could see some shit that you just, you've buried deep down that is never going to see the light of day again. because tripping was always, you had to be in a good mind space. There were times when I was hard, because I was a hardcore tripper. Like, I mean, there was a time I think I was every other day was taking like a quarter of mushrooms for about 8 months. Like, it was every other day.
I'm just that doesn't mean anything.
I was tripping a lot of mushrooms, a lot of mushrooms, and then like I would trip mushrooms and acid at the same time. Like, I would take a bunch of mushrooms, I would wait to start tripping off of that, and then I'd drop a couple of hits of acid. I was huge into it, man.
Not a big who is it? Ralphie May fan? A dabble.
I know who he is.
A dabble, do you?
Yeah.
He died.
Oh, is he dead? I didn't know that.
He was big.
Well, I knew he was a big dude, but I didn't know he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was funny. I liked him. I mean, I would listen to him on, This Is Not Happening, which was one of my favorite stand-up things that was ever done, when Ari Shaffir would do This Is Not Happening. It started on YouTube, and then Comedy Central did it.
Most of my stand-up comedy comes from Pandora. I pick one and I listen to it, and then I'll find a new one, and then if I like that person, then I search their name and I'll listen to that.
Yeah.
But Ralphie May, I learned about him in Germany, and he talked about drugs.
Yeah.
And he said, "A dabble, do you?"
It will.
And you were the guy that was like, "Yeah, but maybe 2 days."
Oh no, I was the guy who was like, "Let's just go balls to the wall. Let's see." Like, I had a friend of mine in college who took. So they used to come on these, acid used to come on these strips. I don't know how it still is, but it would come on strips, and you'd break off a little.
I've seen movies.
Yeah, and you'd put it on your tongue, and that's the acid. He took a whole strip, and like one dab is literally
Workaholics.
Yeah,
where they do it in the hotel room.
I haven't seen that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't seen
funny.
Workaholics really.
That's how I know about it, because I don't think. I mean, obviously, most of my life experience. At this point, a third of my life experience was in the Army.
Yeah.
So unless you were DST or a drug user, then you didn't see the stuff.
Yeah. No, this guy was. So this guy took one of those strips, and it was probably that long, and he wrapped the entire strip around his tongue like 2 times. Like, he was able to like wrap it around, and he's just walking around party like, I'm gonna be tripping balls, bro. And he was a hardcore tripper guy like me. That motherfucker legally went insane. Like, he went home to his girlfriend, like banged his head on a mirror, thought everybody was out to try and kill him. He was committed to a mental institution for like 3 weeks. Like, he never was the same after that. Like, he had issues after that. Like, it was bad. Like, you can go a little
drugs.
Like you can go a little too far with it.
Shit.
Yeah. I heard about that. I was like, holy shit, that dude, he was so cool. He was like a little Rastafarian dude, really mellow guy, like your stereotypical college hippie, like, just like, chill, man, it's all good. Like, and really nice. Everybody liked him, never had problems with anybody. And he
went insane.
And then he just did that and went fucking crazy. Like, was like being violent. Like, his girlfriend ran screaming out of the house and called the cops because she literally thought she was going to die, that she was going to get killed by him.
What is that? There's a movie, and they do acid in it, but it's not like a huge highlight of it, like some of Jack Black's stuff. It's Choose Your Own Adventure. It's on Netflix, actually. And they do the acid in there, and then this guy like loses his mind and jumps out the window or some shit. I don't know if that was
so there was
one, or if it was like some crazy drug, or I don't know what it.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember the name of the movie though.
There have been people who've done shit on drugs, and people were like, "Oh, that's the drug's fault," and you're like, "Eh." Is it? I mean, that's probably a
This was a weird
factor.
premise though, because obviously it's a movie, but this was a weird premise. Like, okay, it was like the other person, the person doing the drugs with him was himself.
Yeah,
because like I said, it was Choose Your Own Adventure, and then every time you would pick an outcome, once you finished the movie and you went back and did it again, it was as if he was having deja vu, and he was like, wait, I already met you once before.
I never saw, like, so when I tripped acid, And I tripped a lot of acid. Not like all at once, but
it's funny. We talked about drugs for 2.5 hours. So we're like, what should we talk about for an hour?
Drugs. I never saw like really like the first time I ever took acid, my expectation was I'm going to see, a chair transform into like, and start talking to me like it's out of Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse. Never happened.
Did you try really hard?
No, I just kind of let the acid kind of take me where it needed to take me. I would go outside and walk around. Like whenever I tripped, this was my favorite thing to do, was go into the woods. Not because I was worried about running into, I talked to cops once tripping my balls off on mushrooms. And they were like, what are you guys doing here? I was in the baseball parking lot of my college campus, and it was exam week. And it was me and like 4 of my friends, and we're all tripping. We're walking up the hill to our apartment complex, and the cops are in the parking lot. And they spotlight us like, hey, come here. And so everyone's like, I'm not talking to the cops. I'm not talking, because we're all tripping balls, like balls. And I'm like, all right, well, fuck, I've got to be the one that goes talks to the cops. So I walk down the hill. I'm like, yes, sir, what's going on? He's like, the fuck are you doing? I was like, it's exam week, man. We were studying, having a study group. We wanted to get some fresh air, walking around. Where do you live? That building on top of the hill. That's where we're going. All right. Just drove off. And I was like, man, that was, and it was intense. Like, I was a little scared that I was going to get arrested, but
you broke my cardinal rule.
What?
Never talk to the cops.
I learned, so I was studying criminal law and justice at the time. One thing the first day of class in my intro class at criminal law and justice was never argue with a man who has a badge and a gun. You don't know what kind of day he's having.
So there
let the courts settle it out. You just okay. Here you go. I don't try and be a lawyer to him. Some people will tell you that's wrong. I'm a white guy, so that's my experience with it. I mean, I don't know
the Fifth Amendment. So there was
the Fourth Amendment. You talking searches and seizures?
No,
incrimination,
yeah.
Self-incrimination.
Yeah, the Fifth Amendment. So it says that your Miranda warning says anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say that anything you say can be used to help you.
Yeah.
So there's a 45-minute seminar, and this, I think, came out on YouTube. Now it's all over the place, but I think it came out on YouTube the same year YouTube came out, which was 2007. It's in a college classroom, and a lawyer, who I believe is the professor in that class, gets up and talks for 30 or 40 minutes. No, not that long, because he only talks about half the time. So it's 45 minutes long, whatever. He talks about half the time about why you shouldn't talk to the cops. And he has a police officer there who follows him and talks for the other half of the time. And he goes, I don't know what he's going to say. He might disagree with me. I don't know. But he's going to get up here and talk. And then the other half of it is a police officer telling you why you shouldn't talk to the police and his procedures and stuff. And so I see this post on Facebook. And where it got bad is it wasn't just one. It was the same lady posting over and over again about this incident, her interaction with the cops. And I got on there and I said, she was asking for a lawyer, like, hey, who should I go to talk about this incident? And I said, whoever you find is going to have a challenge, because you've already word vomited your story all over the internet.
Here's the thing. If there are going to be instances where you have to talk to the police.
Of course.
This idea of just throwing up a wall is not. Now, if you've done something wrong, yeah, you've done something wrong, you probably shouldn't say anything. You should just probably, now.
You can be cooperative.
You can be cooperative and not say anything. But
you can say yes.
In my situation,
no,
I was just like, we were on a college campus, literally, like, and it was exam week. I mean, the cop probably didn't know what the hell was going on. And it was a campus cop. This was not like a sheriff or.
So he wasn't a real.
It wasn't a real cop.
It was like me. I was an MP. I wasn't a real police.
He wasn't a real police officer. I don't even think those guys carried guns. I think they had like flashlights and walkie-talkies.
And he was a rent-a-cop.
Yeah, he was like a rent-a-cop. But hey, what are you doing? And it's like, all right, so my options are this. Put myself in his shoes. If I immediately am like, fuck you, I'm not saying anything, his reaction is going to be, this motherfucker's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
That's going to be, and he's like, now I'm going to stand here and talk to these guys and I can detain them for 48 hours without charging.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need a reason. That is, and a lot of people don't understand that. So I'm like, all right, do I want to get into this hassle of being a dickbag to this guy who's just asking me a question? He's not being mean or rude. He's not like, we're walking up a hill, not on a pathway or anything. And yeah, we look a little sketchy because it's, 10 o'clock at night on a, Tuesday. He's like, what are you doing? Like, that's a very valid question, officer.
Yeah.
Like, let me explain to you what we're doing. And you just explain. Now, if he would have looked at me and been like, do you have any drugs on you? Have you taken anything? I'd have been like, look, I've told you what all I'm going to tell you. That's it. Like, that's what we're doing. If you feel the need to escalate things to where you need to escalate them, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm
not going to stop you. I'm not going to argue with you. You asked me once. I've told you. Conversation's over. Can I go or are you going to arrest me? And I'm going to let the court system work it out.
Yeah. So
I had no drugs on me, so I wasn't scared. I had nothing on me, and they can't test for me being, unless they're going to go like spinal tap my ass. They can't test me for psilocybin, really. I mean, they can give me a P test, and if I'm still tripping when they give me the P test.
So the probable cause, well, after the probable cause,
there was no probable cause.
I'm speaking hypothetically. Yeah. If they had probable cause, I believe the vertical nystagmus would give them an indicator.
Yeah, well, they had
but
no.
They
probable
would still have to test.
Now, me being a dickbag to him, going, "I'm not fucking talking to you," immediately gives him probable cause. Mm-hmm. Be like, he's doing something wrong. Yeah. Me answering his question gives him no reason to be like, "Oh, okay, this guy's doing something wrong. He shouldn't be." Yeah, I lied to him. I don't give a shit. That was 15 years ago. I'm like, I don't care. I don't even think this guy's watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So I lied to him.
Yeah.
But that didn't give him, I answered a question. And I was like, there you go. That is, and there was no probable cause for him to detain me at that point.
So Toya got her first and only speeding ticket and came home and told me about it. And we worked through it. And
I got a speeding ticket once.
She used her, I had her use her prayer for judgment. And, cause she was like, do I need to get a lawyer? I was like, no.
I did get a lawyer. Cause mine was bullshit.
Oh, for your speeding ticket?
Yeah. I went and got a lawyer in Jacksonville.
I think you told me about this.
Yeah. Because I was traveling through, Holly Ridge, which is like a little town on 17. It's a shitty little town, and they hate Marines there. They really do. Or at least they used to. I don't know about it. At least the cops do. Because that's the thoroughfare to get from Jacksonville down to Wilmington. And I lived in Wilmington, and so it was like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I'm in my uniform, driving to base for formation, and I get pulled the fuck over. So I'm driving, and I look in my rear view, and I see these headlights way off in the distance. And so I'm driving, and I look back up, and these headlights are pretty much right on top of me. As I look back down, there is a headlights in a turn lane on the other side of the highway trying to turn left. And as soon as I get right here, he blue lights. Because the guy who's behind me is like right behind me at this point. This guy was traveling at like 95 miles an hour easily. And I'm like, okay, well, I just pulled over. Like, because I thought
you were getting out of the way.
I thought I was getting out of the way. And he just pulled in behind me. He's like, you know why I stopped you? I was like, no, sir. He goes, I clocked you at 75 miles an hour. I was like, well, I had I was like, well, I had my cruise set at 55, sir. He's like, are you calling me a liar? I was like, no, sir. I'm saying either I don't know what's going on. I'm telling you what I'm seeing back here. And that is, he's like, all right, do you have your license and registration? I'm like, here you go. And I'm in my Marine uniform. I'm like, here you go, officer. There you go. Comes back with a ticket. And he's like, you got to be at, Onslow County Sheriff or Onslow County Courthouse on this date to pay the fine. I said, thank you very much. He's like, all right, drive safe. And I went on my way. And that day, I had to call my platoon sergeant. This is what I got a page 11 for.
Yeah. I
had to call him and be like, this is bullshit, Staff Sergeant. He's like, well, I got to give you a page 11 because that's the rules. I was like, well, can I go to court first? And he was like, I mean, you can. Just go pay the fine. I was like, I'm not paying the fine. I didn't do anything wrong.
No.
And, anytime I've got to go to a courtroom, I'm definitely going to have a lawyer with me. And I went and hired a lawyer for like a few $100. And she's like, you don't even have to come to court with me. It's like, I'll represent you in your stead, sign this document. I'm like, all right, here you go. Called me like the day of the court date. She's like, it's been thrown out.
Nice.
All you have to do is pay my fee. And I was like, well, I already paid your fee. And she's like, yep, we're good.
Nice.
Like, all right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was how I took care of it. I didn't do prayer for judgment. Because she asked me, she's like, you ever had a speeding ticket? I was like, no. She's like, well, you use your prayer for judgment. I was like, no, when you say my prayer for judgment, if I'm actually ever doing something.
Yeah.
Like if I do get caught speeding and like I'm legit don't have a prayer, but I was not fucking speeding.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And I don't know what she said to the traffic court, but she's like, it's been thrown out.
I mean,
and I think the result, she sent me the result a few days ago. It was like defective equipment, I think was what was on the paperwork she sent from the court.
She pled it down.
No, I didn't get any points. Didn't have to pay a fine. Didn't do anything.
Defective equipment is a non-moving violation. She pled it down. You don't get points on your license.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to pay anything.
Non-moving.
Yeah.
It's a fix-it ticket. I got 4 of those in one stop on my motorcycle. Yeah. I got pulled over, and with everything that was wrong, he wouldn't let me ride the motorcycle off.
She told me she was like, it's been thrown out for defective equipment.
Yeah.
It wasn't pled down. She told me, those were her exact words and on the paperwork she gave me that was sent to my house from the court, it was case dismissed, reason, defective equipment by whether it was the county sheriff or the city police officer.
Yeah.
And that was it.
On mine, it was fix-it tickets, so.
It wasn't even a fix-it. I didn't have to go. I wasn't ordered to go get my speedometer checked. I wasn't ordered to go look at any of that. I didn't have to do any of that.
Well, I didn't get pulled over for speeding, though. I got pulled over for
they threw the gambit at you.
I was missing a screw on my license plate. So what's wrong?
It's I don't know what it is, man. Whenever we sit in here, there has to be a dog that comes and sits on that couch with somebody.
A good dog.
Yes.
But yeah, so I got stopped because I was missing a screw on my license plate, so it was canted a little bit. So he pulled me over. So he didn't stop me. Everything he got me for, nothing was a moving violation. So all I did is it took me forever. So I would go to court, ask for an extension. Go to court, ask for an extension. Kept doing that until I got all my paperwork around. Then I showed up and I said, "Here's my stuff." And the guy, the DA or assistant, whoever the person is, like I guess the prosecution side of things, he looked at my paperwork and he marked everything off. And then he goes, "All right, you're dismissed." And he seemed upset about it. And I'm like, doesn't this kind of save us all a bunch of time and energy? I don't have to go up there and talk to the judge. Yeah. Oh, what was crazy is at one point when I asked for an extension, I had gone so long that they were like, "Okay, we can't grant you anymore. You have to talk to the judge this time." So I went in and talked to the judge, and she goes, well, for one of these violations, you should have been advised of your rights, and you weren't. So I'm going to do that now, and then you have to come back. I was like, wow, that's crazy, because I was going to ask for an extension and you're giving it to me because something went wrong. So
yeah, I mean, before the Marine Corps, I looked like, a pothead. I had long hair, beard, Grateful Dead tattoo. I knew I reeked of, I smoke weed, right?
Yeah.
And so whenever I went anywhere, I never brought weed with me. Because I was like, look, man, I know a cop's going to pull me over. And I would get stopped a lot. Like I'd never get any tickets. Like I would get stopped though. And they would just come up and they'd be like, we search you. I'm like, go ahead, man. Search away. I've got nothing to hide. And most people are like, oh, that's, you have rights. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do. But like, I'm choosing what hill I'm going to go die on. And this is not one of them. Like if I know I have nothing in the car, I'm not dying on that hill to stand up for myself. Yeah. I'm like, hey man, I got nothing but time. You go ahead, search my car. Oh, you don't have any drugs in the car? No, I don't. All right, you're good. Sorry about pulling you over. Slow down next time. Okay. He pulled me over for bullshit, like no reason. He wasn't going to give me a ticket. I just looked like a pothead. I mean, there was another campus cop who pulled, I was in the back seat of my friend's Honda, and there was a person tailing us through campus with their brights on in an SUV, like brights, like right on our ass. And I did this. I turned around one time, and he just blue lighted us. And his reason for it was, oh, you look nervous. Like he specifically came up and was like, he pointed his flashlight at me in the car in the back seat and was like, what are you so nervous for? And I'm like, I looked at him, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, why are you turning around looking at me at you out the window? I was like, because you have your brights on and it was annoying. Like, you answered the question. He's like, step out of the car. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't have weed or anything on me. We were going to a party. And I was like, I'd smoked a shit ton of weed before I left. And I was high as fuck. But I had nothing on me. And I'm like, he's like, put your hands on the car. I'm like, all right. He's like, you have any knives or anything on you? I was like, nope. I have nothing on me. He pulled out my pack of cigarettes. He dumped all the cigarettes out on the trunk of the car. Was like picking them up and smelling them.
Wow.
And he's like, do you have any weed on you? I was like, no, I don't. He's like, come on, man. I know you've got weed on you. And I was like, I literally have no weed. If you want to take me to jail for having something I don't have on me, that's your choice. At this point, I'm done talking. I wasn't driving. I wasn't doing anything. I don't know why you pulled us over. At this point,
he was really
he
digging.
I mean, I looked like a pothead. I mean, and I was high. I mean, my eyes were glad. I mean, he knew I was stoned. And he was like, I was like, I got nothing. You can search the car. I mean, it's not my car. Like, you got to ask her. But
yeah.
And I was like, but I'm done talking to you. Like, another cop showed up and was like, what are you doing, man? And this guy apparently had a lot of complaints on campus. And this was another campus cop. It's like, what are you doing? Like, oh, this guy turned around and looked at me and he's high. And the cop came up and he's like, all my, like my wallet's out. My cigarettes are all over the place. Like, I'm like, I'm in sandals. So there's nothing hidden in my shoes. And I'm like, I've got nothing on me, man. Like, I don't know what the deal is with this guy. He's like, yeah, he's being a dick. Just get in your car and go. I'm like, bye. I put all my cigarettes back in my pack and we went on our business.
Jesus.
But I wasn't going to like yell at him. I wasn't going to be like, oh, you can't, like, that was going to help nobody.
I served with guys who were like that. They thought they were the law.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't get, like, I knew who this guy was because like we lived on it was a small college campus.
Yeah.
This was not like Ohio State or anything. This was a small school in the middle of nowhere, like literally nowhere. And like, there was maybe 5 campus cops that patrolled the breaking up parties and, busting kids for drinking and driving. And that's about it.
He was digging,
but he thought he was like hunting for Osama bin Laden or something. I mean, he was like, he was like, I equate him to TSA.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm stopping terrorism before it starts. Like, no, you're not. You ain't doing shit.
Wow.
But I was just kind of like, yes, I can yell and scream and I'm in the right to do so.
Mm-hmm.
That accomplishes nothing. That's going to get my friends pulled out of the car. That's going to do all of this shit. I'm just going to stand here and just let him do what he's going to do and just bite it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to pound my chest and be the alpha male in this situation. This is not the hill I'm going to die on. If he wants to take me to jail or whatever they do for campus guys, I think they would have to call in like a county sheriff. And the county sheriff has to come out and like arrest you.
Yeah. So they can't even like detain you or transport.
Well, they have nowhere to put you. I don't know. I've never got arrested by any of these guys, but okay. I mean, this one guy had like 15, 20 complaints against him. And I was like, I know what'll happen. If I start yelling and screaming and doing all of this shit about my rights and blah, 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 more cops are going to show up.
Yeah.
They're automatically going to get on this guy's back and I'm going to be the asshole.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to deal with it. So if he's going to arrest me, there's no sense of stopping. Now, granted, I am a white guy. it is probably a lot different for people who are different who are minorities. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like for them.
That's something that Toya brought up.
I mean, our justice system is royally fucked up, and so is our so is our policing. But I mean, that's a whole nother conversation.
So she brought it up one time, and I had never really thought about it like this because her dad is retired,
mm-hmm.
and her mom doesn't drive, so he'll take her to and from work. Number one, number two, if he's not like doing a side job for someone, he doesn't have much to do, you know. A lot of his friends and family still work or, you know, do other stuff. So sometimes he'll get bored and he'll just go drive around or maybe make a run to the store or something. So old black guy driving around
yeah, because they're in the country, right?
Yeah,
they're out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're out in like eastern North Carolina,
Nash County.
Nash County.
Yeah, Middlesex. I call it middle of nowhere.
Yeah, well, it's Nash County. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
Once you get past, eastern Wake County, there's nothing until you get to like the coast. It's nothing but fucking cornfield. I mean, there's really not a whole lot out there.
Yeah, but the concept of him being by himself driving a vehicle. And then he takes care of his vehicles.
Yeah.
So he's got 3. The one is the car that kind of took a dump recently, but it had 300,000 plus miles on it. So they're not fancy or high end or anything like that. So I could see him getting stopped for no reason other than his skin color.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, that does happen. I mean, there is a lot of that. I've got plenty of friends who are like, dude, you don't understand what it's like, from people who are, Latin descent, who are African American, who are all sorts of different, you name it. And they're like, it's so much different for you than it is for me. And I'm like, I get that. I completely understand that. Like, I know. I'm not saying that this is not a real thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not ever going to, I can't talk about it because I'm me and I've had my experiences.
Yeah.
And these are what my experiences are. And I mean, I'm sure there are good people who would listen to that and be like, well, that's because you're a fucking white guy. And I'm like, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say I'm 99.9% sure you're right on that.
On the flip side, I did arrest a staff sergeant on Fort Hood, and I stopped him because he was speeding, and then approached the car, smelled the odor of an alcoholic beverage, pulled him out of the car, did the SFSTs, and then the HGN.
Wait, first of all, do cops really, at least in MPs, do they make you say the alphabet backwards?
No.
Because I'm like, I see that on TV and I'm like, dude, like soberly have to sit there and think like.
So there are behind the wheel tests, which are multiple ones like ABCs and fingertip touches. Then there's SFSTs,
which are like the lights in the eyes and shit like that.
The SFSTs, I believe there are 3. So the one-legged stand, the walk and turn, and the HGN, and that's it.
Which is the HGN?
The HGN is the horizontal gaze nystagmus. So,
English, bro. English.
The pen.
Yeah, with the light in the eyes to see if your eyes are bouncing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's actually 3 different clues. You can get up to 6 because it's per eye.
Yeah.
And that's why it's SFSTs, because it's standardized field sobriety test. So it's standard across the board for the entire United States. They're taught and issued by NHTSA. So there's no question if that cop over there or this cop over there does the test. They're all the same. And that's why cops and MPs have to have good attention to detail. Because if I tell you, hey, walk down there, turn around and come back, and you walk down there and in the military you do an about face and then you come back, that would be a clue, except for the fact that I didn't tell you how to turn around. So if I tell you how to turn around and you walk down there, it's basically like a shuffle. And I'm supposed to demonstrate as well. And so if you walk down, I tell you, you walk down there, you do an about face, and then you come back, it is a clue because I specifically told you and showed you how you're supposed to do it. But the behind the wheel tests are just to give indicators whether or not I need to move to the SFSCs. So the ABCs one, they can go, I want you to say your ABCs from D to M.
Yeah, but they're not asking you to do it backwards. I feel like doing it backwards would take a little more. Like I just sat there. I was like, okay, so I would have to think about it.
The reason they say if you pull someone over and you ask them to say their ABCs backwards, it will get thrown out of court. And the reason is because most people can't say their ABCs backwards sober.
Yeah,
it's not an indicator.
I feel like that's an entrapment. Well, it's not technically entrapment by definition, but it's like you're trying to trap the person going, I couldn't do that sober, man, and be like, oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's a gotcha.
Yeah, it's a gotcha. Like, oh, yeah, I want you to say that because if you say that, that implication is you are not sober right now.
Yeah. On TV, it's good theater.
Yeah.
In real life, a cop.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Reno 911 where he's walking the line and they do this whole dance thing. It's fucking hilarious. You need to watch that.
I've seen the clip on YouTube. Yeah.
He's like, oh, and then you got to spin around, take your hat off.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a really good dancer. No, I'm just drunk.
Yeah. So I arrested this guy, and he said to me, "You're only arresting me because I'm black." I said, "No, Sergeant.
I'm arresting you because you're drunk."
I said, "I stopped you because you were speeding. I'm arresting you because you're drunk."
I mean,
and even then, after I do field sobriety tests, once you get back to the station, at least in the MP Corps and the military, then you're going to do a breathalyzer.
Yeah. And the breathalyzer is what is,
I want to say,
like, even the field test breathalyzer, I was always told if you blow and you go to jail, it's whatever you blow at jail that goes into the record.
Because the one at the station, the actual machine with the tube and the printout is the one that has to get sent off calibrated. You have to. Yeah. I had to go through a school in Germany to learn how to use that machine.
Yeah.
And then I would go down to Germany, get
the ones they have on the side of the road is like the ones you can buy at like Walmart.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I think those can be calibrated. They're just not admissible.
Yeah.
So that's
your probable cause to bring someone to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and charge them with DUI.
And we never had those, but the one in Germany, I would go get drunk downtown, then go to the station and tell whoever was on the desk.
Here's the crazy talking about policing. I mean, I know this is kind of a touchy topic for people, but I was watching last week. So I watched Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on HBO. You ever seen it? He's funny. I mean, there's some shit that I'm like, that is hilarious. And it does make you think. And there's some shit that I'm like, nope, completely wrong. Disagree with this 100%. But he did one recently on raids. And I was talking to my wife while we were watching that. And he was talking about like no-knock raids and how fucked up and how serious they are and how police just use them a lot. And I was like, that is kind of fucked up because when I was in Iraq, it got to a point where we really weren't allowed to do a no-knock raid unless we were physically engaged with someone in that house. Like if we were in a life or death moment, if we were going to a suspected, weapons cache or, someone who was an insurgent or working with the insurgency or whatever, we would surround the house and the block. We'd set up an outer cordon and an inner cordon. And then literally someone would walk up and knock on the door with the interpreter. And once they opened the door, we'd go in.
Yeah.
But we were not allowed to go up and just like blow the door off the hinges with a Brunelli at that point. This was like the second half of my deployment. We weren't allowed because we had given Ali and Bar back at that point. And so we had to go up. And I remember we went on a raid and I'm sitting in this guy's backyard and they're just like, if anybody runs, just, if they don't have a weapon, you can't kill them.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're in a fucking war zone. What if he's got like a suicide vest on? It's like, well, go through your EOF procedures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't a big ass backyard. If he runs out there and I have to go through all my EOF, he'll be 15 feet away from me, 5 feet away. No, probably not even that. Probably be 5 feet away from me. If he's got a suicide vest on, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, them's the rules. And so I was telling my wife this. I was like, it's fucked up. I'm in a war zone and my orders were to have to, do knocks. Like we weren't at that point allowed to do no knock raids. We had to go up and knock on the door. And I'm like, and they don't, and we have cops here who are no knocking raids.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is fucking nuts to me.
That comes back to the talk about a police state. And how
there are problems. Not all police are bad, but I can't
remember who said it, but they talk about, you can have safety or you can have freedom. But as you embrace one, the other one starts to diminish and go away.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Why?
So you can have both safety and freedom. You really can. There's a way to go about doing it in such a way. Well, that does make sense. I've been drinking, but there's a way to you've got to find the balance.
I'm just saying
when you start to give up your freedoms, you start to run towards tyranny. The minute you start to give up even the smallest freedom to say, okay, I'm giving this up for the need of safety, you are well on your way to tyranny, I think.
I agree with you.
Ben Franklin said something like that.
Yeah, but I feel like you're just agreeing with me now.
But there's a ways for you to be safe and to have a safe society.
I think the safety as it's placed in someone else's hands is where your freedoms start to go away. So, for example, it's all about who makes the decision. So some people think that because there are people who are against the masks, that is, it's like, oh, it's insane. You don't care about the safety of others. No, me personally, I think we should just have the ability to make the decision on our own.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the state is making the decision, now you don't get to make that decision.
Well, you look at some of these politicians who are making the decisions and they're going out to fucking restaurants and
hair salons
and they're not fucking wearing masks and they're like, haha. And then they go on television and be like, everyone needs to wear a mask or we're going to arrest you. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You've lost all credibility with me.
Yeah.
I was watching something on the I call it the crisis in California. I mean, that place, people are fucking flying out of LA and San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean, it is mass exodus. Same with Seattle. Seattle's the same way. Portland as well. Like the business, because the government there is completely shut down small business. Completely. They're like, you're just not allowed to be open.
Yeah.
Period. And so the business, they're just, all right, fuck you, I'm out. So now you've got people moving to Texas and shit and North Carolina and, Virginia and all over the place, Florida, where those governors are. And yeah, people are like, oh, that's a terrible idea. I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why the governor of Texas is like, it's up to the business. It's your choice. This is a free state. Like, if you want I absolutely agree with that.
You make the decision. If
you
decide that you and your patrons are required to wear masks, put a sign up, let people know. Yeah. And then
and the people who come into that business, they need to understand that, like, hey, this is what it's required of me to go into that business.
Yes. And
not
if
fucking throw a temper tantrum about it because you're not a fucking 5-year-old.
Yeah. If you decide that you don't want to wear a mask and they require it, then you get to choose whether or not you go in that business or not. That's what I talk about when it comes to freedom versus safety, because dictated safety is not.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about like policing wise.
Yeah.
Like the criminal law and justice is very, very skewed in this country.
Yeah.
It always has been. And I mean, defunding the police is not the answer. It's really not. How we train the police. I mean, teachers and police should be looking. First of all, those two professions need to get paid a lot more than what they do.
Yeah.
But it also needs to be a whole hell of a lot harder to get into that position.
Yeah.
That almost needs to be like becoming a doctor. Those need to be the best people of our society. And you need to pay them for that. And they need to constantly require new training, just like being in the military. Like, you leave boot camp, you're not done training. You continue to train, and every day, and even on deployment, if you're not doing anything, you're doing training.
95% of my military career was getting ready for something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you are constantly training. And yes, that costs money. And that's a big thing. But I mean, these
I
are
watched
people
a
who
YouTube
affect
video.
our society more and have the ripple effects of what they do and their choices that they make affect our society larger than I would say most other professions.
Yeah.
Most other professions.
I watched,
I mean, they're very, very two important professions to have in a in a good society, not a well society, but a good society. Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Joe.
My name is Ryan.
Please don't forget to click that like button. We can be found on anywhere you get your podcast. And also don't forget to go down below and click the link for Soldier Girl Coffee.
This is the Veteran Talk Show. If you or someone you love is suffering as a victim of sexual harassment, sexual assault, needs help with addiction and recovery, or mental health and well-being, then please go to veterantalkshow.com/resources. This show is hosted, produced, and edited by Ryan Smeltz. Our co-host is Joe Ballack, and guest starring veterans.